right, so our next muscle of the arm is going to be the deltoid, which is right here. So it has 3 places of origin on it. It's going to originate up here at the acromion, on the spine of the scapula, and over here in the front of the clavicle. So it is kind of like a big triangle where it gets its name from, deltoid. So we're going to need, like a medium-sized piece of clay, and you're going to need to take your rolling pin and flatten that out. This is a sheet muscle. I have removed my pectoralis major and biceps brachii because it does get in the way of this muscle. If you want to try to work around it, you can, but I do not want to fight that. My biceps brachii was going to be steep, so this has got to fit in all of these locations and come down. And this, I got to make it a little bit bigger. It's not going to be large enough. Actually, it doesn't have to be very thick, just big enough in thickness so that it's not going to fall apart. I want it to be pretty sturdy. So when I take this, I'm going to kind of just overlay it over all of those points of origin. And I'm definitely far enough down on my insertion because this also inserts in the same spot as your pectoralis major, which is on that deltoid tuberosity of the humerus, that outer bump on the humerus. So I'm going to take my pointer tool here and I'm going to just draw out a nice triangle and fit it on there. So I'm going to draw it out first. I'm going to remove it, cut it on my mat, and then put it on there. And as I put it on there, then I'm going to talk through. So I'm going to pause it here for a minute and do those steps, and I'll be right back. All right, so I went ahead and kind of just planed out the size that would work for my deltoid here. So I'm going to go ahead and first point of origin is here on the clavicle. So I'm going to take part of it and push it down onto my clavicle. The next point of origin is my acromion process, which is at the point where the clavicle meets the scapula. And this is where I'm going to stretch it a little bit here on the back because it's also going to attach and originate, move it over, there we go, on the spine of my scapula there. So that's that ridge, that's our spine of the scapula. And now I'm going to take it and I'm just going to bring it down and move it over a little bit and get it to insert. So there's my 3 parts of origin, and insert on that deltoid tuberosity on the humerus, which again is the latter side of the humerus, that raised little bump there. So I'm going to go ahead and put in my striations. First, I'm going to mark my tendon down here on my deltoid tuberosity, and then I'm going to go ahead and draw in my fibers. That is really awkward. Let me just do here like this. So the direction of my fibers are straight down. So unlike pectoralis major, which brought the arm back to the body, adducted, this one abducts, which means we take it away. So we sadly don't have time to go through all the different motions. So not a big deal, but there's my fiber. So this muscle helps bring the arm away from the body. It also helps for lateral rotation. It does very little for the shoulder. It's all just moving then the humerus away. Pectoralis major brings it back. So abduction, this was adduction. All right, we're now going to do our final muscle of the trunk, at least the final one we'll do together. And then this time around, because there are so many muscles of the trunk and the arms, you're going to pick 4 out of clay to create, and then the rest will be on biodigital.com. So I'm taking, and I've got this big hunk left. Oh, stop it. Oh, God, trying to eat the hand of the mannequin. This big chunk that was left over from my pectoralis major. So I'm taking this, I'm going to flatten it out because your rectus abdominis, your 6-pack, and technically we're doing half, so we're doing a 3-pack here. The origin is the pubis symphysis, and then it inserts on the xiphoid process of the sternum, and then on the actual costal cartilage, so the cartilage portion of the rib cage. So from here all the way down here. Now the problem is we have nothing really back here to anchor this in. So this is kind of a tough muscle to do because it doesn't sit and stay very well. So do the best you can, but you need then a piece of clay that's going to run from there all the way up here. So I'm going to pause because it's taking me a while to flatten this out and get it long enough, and then I'll be back. All right, so I think I've got a long enough piece here that's going to run from there to there. So I'm just going to tentatively stick it on here, and then I'm going to cut a rectangular strip all the way down. I'm going to trace it out, and then I'm going to take it off. I'm going to cut it. So I'm going to do that, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so here's my piece. So first thing I'm going to do is I am going to stick it actually in the insertion point. So not the origin, because I think it's going to fall off. So I'm going to go up here to my xiphoid process, and I'm going even a little bit above that because otherwise I'm afraid it will fall off. And I know that it will because I've done this enough times. So I'm going to stick that insertion on there and on the costal cartilage of the rib cage. And then this is going to go down and attach. And I do kind of just, even though it would be a flat straight sheet, I kind of just wrap it over and do the best I can down here to get it to attach to our not so great pubic symphysis. So down here, because this is the origin, this would be our tendon. So I drew that out. And then you've got your lower abs, which are about here. So I drew a line for my lower abs, and then you've got 3 sections of upper abs. So one here and here. So I got 3 sections, and then my lower abs, and then your muscle fibers run straight up and down, and that's where we get the name rectus, because rectus means straight. So our fibers go straight up and down, and then abdominis because it covers our abdominal region. This is the muscle that we use for bowel movements, childbirth, getting up from a seated position, commonly called our core. So there's my, yeah, it's hard to see this one because it's so large. Just kind of turn it like that. There we go. Rectus abdominis. So you can see the three segments that I have there. I'm really good at pointing up. There we go. And our lower abs down there. All right. That's it for the ones we're going to be doing together. As I said, you're going to pick 4 that you're going to choose to do from that section. And then after that, we've got one more section together, and that is the muscles of the legs and lower limbs.